Hello and welcome back to Retro Ranger. We've been talking a lot about RPGs and games that are a bit lengthy in terms of their playtime. So I thought it'd be a good change of pace to focus on some of the great choices for those quick pick up and play type of needs. While it goes somewhat hand in hand with portability, I won't limit the list just to portable systems, though naturally there's going to be some big crossover as well. Here's some great pick up and play games. Okay, first up on our list is Overcooked. I'm playing this on the Nintendo Switch for its portability, but it's also worth noting that the game only really shines, at least in my opinion, during couch co-op, and while that doesn't exactly scream portability anymore, it is a great pick up and play game with a group of friends. Best to say goodbye to those friends though, since you're going to be at each other's throats before long. In Overcooked, you're a chef, or rather one person on a team of chefs, and your goal is simple. Make the specific orders that come in with these specific ingredients found throughout the level and deliver it within a respectable time limit. While that sounds easy, it quickly becomes an entangled orchestration of the entire couch yelling out orders and sequences before it all comes down like a house of cards. It would be so much easier if everyone just did exactly what I told them to do. Joking aside, this is one that will cause some good rage moments, but in reality, that's kind of half the fun here. To fulfill an order, the ingredients will usually require some preparation, such as chopping an onion or cooking meat before you can assemble the dish and send it on its way to the awaiting customer. Of course, the orders will become faster and you'll be graded on your ability to meet the demand from a 1 to 3 star ranking. Over time, the recipes will become more sophisticated, as do the map requirements like limited lighting, moving ingredient containers, and more, but the ramp is so well executed that it's just hard not to lean into this one. If you're in the mood for a quick pick up and play with spectacular couch co-op, I'd highly recommend Overcooked. Alright, next up is Metal Slug XX on the Sony PSP. This game from the classic run and gun series that we've already talked about previously on the Neo Geo episode is actually a revised version of the Metal Slug 7 game with some great enhancements on the go, notably more content and co-op gameplay. Originally released for the Nintendo DS under that Metal Slug 7 title, I'd recommend this PSP version instead, and not just for the extra content, but also the removal of the touchscreen mechanics and the better screen ratio selections.
Thank you. Thundershot.
Beyond that, this is your tried and true Metal Slug game on the go, and the pick up and play factor is certainly high. The graphic style will match that of the original games that you know and love from the arcade or on the Neo Geo, and the playstyle matches it perfectly as well. Again, you'll find mission-based stages that have you carving up enemies like Thanksgiving turkeys. At the end of each mission, you'll face off against a larger-than-life boss that was almost a staple of the original series. In fact, you'll be surprised that this is gaming in 2010 since it won't feel a day out of the originals, except maybe for a little bit of a lack of slowdown, but that just makes the experience all the better. If you need a tight arcade-style run-and-gun experience in a light pick-up-and-play package, well, Metal Slug XX is a great option. Okay, next up on our list is Astro Boy Omega Factor on the Game Boy Advance. Beat 'em up? Check. Developed by Treasure? Check. Portable? You betcha. Astro Boy Omega Factor is a great GBA title that fits our quick pick up and play theme well. If you're not familiar with who or what Astro Boy is, it's based on a manga, anime, and eventual Hollywood animated movie about an android boy who is created in the image of the inventor's son who dies in an accident, which is all quickly covered in the opening sequence of the game. Like in most beat-em-ups, Astro Boy will punch, kick, and use special moves to mow through enemies in the game. Beyond that, Astro can fly temporarily in any direction, and while this is cool, it took me a while before I was able to use it to my advantage, and I think part of that is the button mapping to double tap A while holding that direction. Maybe one of the shoulder buttons would have been a better suit here, but I digress. One interesting addition to this typical beat-em-up format is that Astro can gain stat point increases throughout the game to help build his various abilities throughout, and it adds a nice touch here. The art, specifically the animations and the backgrounds, are really great, and the whole game definitely feels like it belongs in the developer Treasure's catalog. The story follows along with some of the source material topics, but if I'm honest, I usually skip past it as it just really never grabbed me into that universe. And to be honest, the action gameplay here definitely holds its own. The level contains good variety in terms of gameplay, and you'll even get some shooter-based levels in there as well. The pacing works well so that you're not quick to get bored with it, which isn't totally uncommon with the beat-em-up genre, but at the same time it works well as you can do this as a quick pick-up-and-play game, which is of course why it's on the list. If you've not checked this one out before, I highly recommend you do. Okay, next up on our list is Puzzle Bobble 3D Vacation Odyssey for the PlayStation 5. Basically any Puzzle Bobble game is eligible for this list, but this is just the latest in the series and I wanted an excuse to showcase a game on the PS5. Guess I need to change my name to New Console Ranger now. This works as a VR game, but failing to capture that well, I'm falling back here to the controller-based game, which still retains its fun, though I'd certainly recommend the VR one over this for an added bonus. This is Puzzle Bobble in all its goodness that has you shooting bubbles yet again to pop as many possible in a single shot. Each level will have certain objectives like pop all within a time limit or with a limited amount of bubbles to shoot overall. The game starts off pretty easy and it will be a while before you have to retry any level. The graphics are good, though as a puzzle game, that's almost irrelevant, but you can really appreciate the backgrounds, effects like the weather and more, especially in the VR mode. One of my favorite new additions is slinging your bubble around the puzzle glob and sticking it on the backside, since your bubble will orbit around the center as it has some serious gravity pull. I don't know why, but it's just, I don't know, it feels rewarding, and I'll choose to do it even when I don't have to, just for the kicks. Your performance will be a 1 to 3 star rating, and while I actually don't mind this in Overcooked, I really disliked it here for some reason, and I can't quite put my finger on it. It feels almost like a mobile game rating. Even though I guess Overcooked didn't really give me that same vibe, it still has that same 1 to 3 rating. But anyways, either way, you can ignore it or strive for that 3 stars before you move on to the next round. There's an overworld map that's pretty useless, and the UI covers most of it from level to level, so unless you explicitly back out of the menu, you don't really get to see it, which is kind of strange. That said, the Puzzle Bobble series has spanned a lot of console generations, and we even covered it again during the Neo Geo episode. These are lighthearted and fun to just jump in and go. There's no real story, well, I guess despite this one having a story mode, but that's not really all that involved. But what are you waiting for? Get in and pop that bubble. Okay, here's a cool indie game that meets our list requirements. This is Donut County on the Nintendo Switch. Now I'm sure that you've seen or at least heard of the game Katamari Damacy, where you roll around and gradually get bigger and bigger, and then you can pick up even bigger items, etc. This works pretty much the same, though I guess a bit in reverse since you play as a whole. Yes, you've heard that right. In this game, you play as a whole. You can move around the level with the objective of swallowing up various items into the ether, which in turn makes your hole bigger and thus enables bigger items to be gobbled up. It begs the question though of why would you play this instead of just Katamari Damacy? And my answer would be 1, I'm told that Katamari Damacy can give people motion sickness, and so since the camera actually never moves here, that won't be an issue. 2, I see a lot more puzzle aspects in this game, which I definitely prefer, but possibly the biggest reason is the overall charm and humor that this game has to offer. The graphics are so fitting, as is the genuine humor that you're going to find throughout the game. The story isn't going to make you really feel anything other than maybe laughter, which is exactly what it's shooting for as a light outing. After all, that works, and this is a good pick up and play kind of game. While the general concept remains the same throughout the game from start to finish, it never really felt stale to me, but then again, you can complete this in only a few hours. That pacing generally helps it though, and I find that it's a great balance between story progression, gobbling up the levels, and the puzzles within. Overall, I've played through this twice now, and so has my wife, who also enjoyed it. If you are in the mood to just chill out and have some genuine laughs, Donut County might just be the next adventure for you. Okay, and there you go. Some great pick up and play games for when you're in the mood for something light. And that said, light gameplay doesn't automatically equate to unsatisfying or second best, right? And we really only scratch the surface for these types of games with our list. I'm always looking for games that find this great blend of jump in, jump out, but still feels great every single time. In the comments down below, I'd love to hear what your top 5 would be, and I'd look forward to learning about some new games that I gotta get on my list soon. Until then, as always, thank you for watching Retro Ranger.